1. So this happened a couple of months ago, and I guess I could say this as a warning to everyone out there when taking public transportation to another city, especially at night. Just a short background. I'm a 17-year-old female who lives in a small city in Malaysia. I usually travel to the big city, Kuala Lumpur, to visit my boyfriend. Normally, I take the train since there's more college students and families, and it just feels safer in general. I only take the bus when there's absolutely no trains left. They are mostly full since people travel a lot. One time, my boyfriend's family invited me for a family event, so I accepted. I immediately went to book train tickets, only to find that all the trains for the entire week, morning to night, are full. Next, I checked for afternoon buses, all full as well. The only buses with free seats were evening buses, which left around 5 p.m. So fine, I take those. On the day I had to leave, we go there around 5:25, but apparently, the bus had left, so the staff gave us another seat for a 6:45 p.m. bus. No problem, it's not that late. We waited, and only by 7:30 the bus arrived. Fuck, it's gonna be dark, is all I was thinking. I couldn't get a refund and change to another bus for the next day, so I had to stick with the 7:30 bus. I'll admit I was a bit scared, but I brushed it off as paranoia. So skip to 2 hours when halfway to the destination. This is the part that made me refuse taking a late bus ever again. There was this guy who looked in his late 20s sitting in front of me. It was dark, and I didn't dare to fall asleep, so I was on my phone chatting with my boyfriend the entire time. I felt someone watching me, and sure enough, I saw the guy's reflection in the front of me, staring directly at me. What's creepier is that his glare was not kind and his eyes were quite large. It felt as if he's staring right into my soul. I ignored him, because, honestly, he can go screw himself. Just as I thought it couldn't get worse, he started whispering to me. It started off with, "Hey," and "Hey, can I talk to you?" Now, I am a paranoid person, so I don't talk to someone who just looks plain creepy. Then he started saying things like, "Answer me. I just want to talk to you." And, "Please talk to me." I grew a bit annoyed, so I just plugged my earphones in and put up my hoodie. Then this creep had the fucking guts to put his hand through the side of the seats, touch my stuff, and reach for my legs. As soon as I saw his hand, I gave it a good kick. Thankfully, he stopped after that, but the glaring continued. Out of fear, I called my mom and whispered to her everything, and she told me to tell someone about it, or to ask to switch seats. I told the older man who was sitting next to me about it, and he got up to look over the seats. Then the creep, he actually pretended to sleep. The older man then told the creep's friend, "Hey, make sure your friend there don't simply disturb girls, huh?" The man then asked me if I knew my way around the bus station, if I had someone waiting for me there, etc. Kind soul. When finally arrived, I immediately ran into my boyfriend's arms and swore to never take an evening bus. Creep on bus. Please fuck off. 2. Okay, so I grew up in a little foresty town, along a highway up in the northwest with my mother, little sister, and stepdad. It's an old miner town nestled up in the foothills. My mom decided we would live in this 150-year-old historical home, built by some coffin maker during the gold rush. I remember it had a neat little door that led to the porch, which he apparently used to slide out coffins he made. Anyway, the place was pretty beat up from years without care, and it needed serious renovation. So for our first year out there, we lived in a tiny trailer on the hill behind the house, which was a bit of an eyesore, and probably was related to why this person hated us so much. Sometime after we settled in and got to work on the house, we met our first neighbor, Anne. Anne was a middle-aged lady who lived in the house next to ours with her painfully quiet husband and dog she forced to wear a shock collar. She was incredibly proud of her position as the neighborhood watch. At first, she seemed nice enough, but things started to get weird after we met our second neighbor, John. He was a cool guy who would do backhoe work on our property for free. For some reason, though, Anne had this weird vendetta against John, and said on several occasions he had caught her rooting around in his trash cans, probably looking for something to hold against him. She would also, apparently, call the cops on him over nothing with such regularity that the police knew the situation between them and would basically do nothing. At first, we weren't sure we believed him completely, because she seemed so nice. But we definitely do now. Somehow she found out we had been talking to this guy, and I guess that put a black mark on us. We started finding our trash cans turned over with the bags broken open. At first we thought it was raccoons, but soon we realized that it was her. I can't exactly remember how because it was so long ago, but I think someone caught her and told us about it. Then, she started slowly driving by our house pretty much every day. And if my little sister and I were outside, she would stop her car and ask us about our mother, who I think she hated the most out of all of us. She would also stand out on her hill and stop whatever she was doing up there to stare at my friends and me whenever we walked by. I remember it used to really scare them, because she would just freeze and look at us unblinkingly as we passed. Eventually, she started calling various government facilities on us for various fictional problems. She claimed she could smell raw sewage coming from our property on various occasions. And she also liked to call animal control and accuse us of abusing our dogs. Of course, none of that was ever true, so we never got in any real trouble. I also remember several people around town accused her of stealing and giving away their pets for some reason. Of course, I don't really know if that was true, but I thought it was worth mentioning. But I think the worst thing she did to us was after we finally moved into the house. We had 3 dogs at the time, a really big sheepdog, a golden retriever, and a little black mutt. We kept them in a large kitchen wire pen in the yard when we weren't walking them so they wouldn't run into the busy highway. Well, for some reason, they started getting out every few nights, and my stepdad had to wrangle them before they ran into the road. We couldn't figure out how they were doing it for the life of us, until one night, when my mom, my little sister and I were in the upstairs bathroom brushing our teeth. My mom happened to look out the window and saw a dark figure fiddling with the lock on our fence. She quickly opened the window and yelled out that she had a gun. She didn't, and threatened to kill them. We saw the figure run and begin to clamber up the hill. She ran outside and saw them run up to Anne's property and heard a door open and close. I must reiterate, we lived very close to a busy highway. Our dogs could have died. My mom did end up reporting this to the police, but they said there was nothing they could do since she had no proof. I don't know if that's actually the case, but our police department is pretty corrupt, so they probably wouldn't do anything even if they could. Anne did end up getting kicked off the neighborhood watch for the various reports of trespassing surrounding her. The last really odd thing I remember her doing was spreading a rumor that my then pregnant mother was running a weed empire from our backyard. I think she wanted to be the CSI of buttfuck nowhere, or something. But she was completely delusional. So Anne, you crazy bitch, let's not meet. 3. My background. Military, moved here 2 years ago. So I've been going to the local 24-hour fitness ever since I got stationed here. For these 2 years I've seen this guy Bran that seemed pretty cool. I've played one-on-one basketball with him. He has told me about his crazy ex-wife, blah blah. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. So normal to me that I invited him over on 3rd of July to have enchiladas with my family. Again, nothing out of the ordinary here. Last Friday, I am playing basketball with my wife. This is a tradition we have after every workout. Well, Bran comes up from my right side and smacks the ball out of my hand. He has done this before, so I don't think much about it, but today seemed different. He seemed more aggressive. He apologizes for interrupting our game and goes to play ball on the other side of the court. I get to my car and there are 4 text messages from him. "What's your problem, homie? You at the gym? You can't fuck up what's already fucked up. No big deal. I'll catch up with you." The thing is, he sent me these text messages 30 minutes before I saw him at the gym. So I respond with, "What are you talking about?" No reply. Then the next day at 7 a.m. he texted me and my wife's co-worker Trey, who also goes to the gym, so a group chat, which is as follows. Video link to the song Future, Mask Off. "Steal from me too? Motherfucking faggots wanted my attention, now they got it." Video link to the song Eminem, Go to Sleep. The lyrics though, word for word. I'm obsessed now. So my buddy Trey and I are confused. I texted Trey to ask what the hell this dude is talking about. My buddy Trey texted back in the group chat. "What are you talking about, bro?" So 5 hours later, the dude replies with, "I forgot. My thoughts are sporadic like an addict. Oh, now I remember. I love you, man." For real, Thursday night around 8:30, this cat got my keys and water out of my gym bag and stole $1,000 and a pistol from my car. Jim released video to police, but nobody knows what his name is. Thought I've seen him with Trey, but I don't know Trey's last name. I just gave the cops Trey's first name and phone number. So if you get a call, you know what it's about. They're just trying to identify him so it don't happen to someone else. They didn't see him getting in my car, just into my gym bag in the gym, then putting my water back 5 minutes later. It's strange they stole my water. Cops are scratching their head, so I filed a police report for $1,000 and a missing pistol and a half-gallon of reverse osmosis water. Shaking my head. Can't have shit. You think you have friends until the cops come asking questions. You gotta see how many friends you have. They all snitch because why? Save their own ass. Laughing my ass off. I'm the one you see Monday night at 6. So at this point, I start putting shit together. He was aggressive at the gym and texting me because he thinks I took his shit. I texted him back saying, if I could help in any way, I would. And he said, thanks, bro. I then called him because I wanted to clear my name and Trey's name. But 20 seconds into the conversation, I could tell this dude was not right in the head. On the phone, he said he got his cocaine, money, and guns stolen out of his gym bag. He says that he knows I, Trey, and my wife plotted against him to rob him. He says I invited him over to plot against him. He says I made a big mistake by inviting him over and showing him where I live. I asked what that meant exactly, and he said, I got guns. If the cops don't handle this, I will handle this. I said, are you going to try and hurt my family? And he said he knew where I lived. I explained to him that I am in the military, and that I don't get involved in illegal shit like that, and neither does my wife or Trey, who are also in the military. We have clearances. He said, I know you did it. He mentioned that he was a diagnosed schizophrenic, who was always high on drugs. that people know not to fuck with him. He said the gym won't release the footage to him, only the cops. At that point, I ended the conversation because I knew I could not reason with someone who is unreasonable. It also occurred to me that if the gym didn't release the footage of him, he has no idea who took his shit and is assuming. So I called Trey immediately and let him know to watch his back at the gym. That this dude is a nutjob and he thinks we plotted against him. Paranoid loony. Yesterday around 9:04 p.m. I got a text from him again. "Are you and your bitch going out tonight? I'm buying drinks all night." So I replied saying, "That's my wife, not my bitch. Have a good night." Then he replied, "She a fucking hoe. Are you mad? I bet she gives sloppy head, am I right?" At this point, I am shaking because I am so mad at this guy for saying these things about my wife. But I did not reply. Then about 30 minutes later he sent me video to Mariah Carey, obsessed. I did not reply. Now I am at a friend's house watching last night's UFC match. As soon as I get home, I call the local police to have an officer sent to my house. I explained all of this to the officer, and the officer advised to not go to that gym anymore and to not engage with the individual. He asked if I have a weapon at home, and I said I do, and he said, "Good, you have the right to defend yourself." I also have a huge German Shepherd. So today at 2:53 p.m., he sends a group text again to me and T. Meme of O.J. Simpson smiling with the caption, "When you know you did it, but they couldn't find you guilty." "I guess John." Me. "And I aren't friends anymore. Got all sensitive over a hoe. Done went soft on us." Shaking my head. "I guess this means next time I see you, we're throwing hands? Fighting, I guess. Or are you cool with me calling your bitch a hoe? I love you, John. Opinions on fags or buys in the military? Line 'em up like Columbine. See if I get away with it now. Just so you know, I'm far from confused or forgetful. I love you, bros. I owe you one. Or should I say 5? I feel like I should pay you for the mollies, or bath salts, or hooked me up with. Just let me know how much. My bank account is the only thing overdosing over here." While he was sending that string of texts, me, my wife, and Trey were at the gym cancelling our memberships for fear of our lives. The gym also stated that they would suspend Brand's membership. I am not going to block the guy's number because I want any evidence I can use against him in the event something happens to my vehicle, my house, or my family. Also, if you notice at the end of the last string of texts, he is implying that we now sold him drugs. I have turned on my motion detector to record when I am not home. I have also shown my wife how to arm and use my weapon. I am glad that me and my wife are moving to Germany soon, but it's not enough. I fear for the safety of my wife when I am not home. I am not going to engage the guy because I don't want to give him any more ammo for the crazy scenario in his head. Ever seen the movie A Beautiful Mind? Honestly, at this point, I am not even sure if anything was stolen from him. I don't really hang out with civilians for the lifestyle differences, and the one time I did, look what happened. Now, I am not saying civilians are bad at all, but I carry caution even higher than before. Anyway, thanks for reading, stay safe, and keep to yourself at the gym. Update, 9 p.m. MST. The dude just found me on Facebook. Now I have his last name. I sent the Facebook post to the police officer I spoke with earlier, along with a Facebook profile picture. The guy Brand sent me a message also that said, "Hey handsome, cute picture. You should be a model." I blocked him and had my wife block him. Now he knows our last names. What next? Update, 10 p.m. MST. Looks at pics of local apartments on Google. Pretty easy to find where he lives. about 15 minutes down the highway from me. I got enough information on him now that if something happens, I can notify the authorities of his approximate location. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to 3 True Scary Stories, episode 237. Thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. You know, that final story there is the kind of one where you want to feel sympathetic for the guy who's suffering from schizophrenia, but at the same time you don't want your sympathy to get you and the people you love hurt. It may have been that that guy was actually on his medication when he was first encountered because he seemed perfectly normal. And then he went off it. Who knows? I mean, not a doctor, so I'm not going to speculate too much on it. That would be inappropriate of me. But yeah, from all the stories I hear, that sounds kind of plausible. Okay, and with that I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.